Alright, first one is an angle. It says a figure created by two distinct rays that share a common point, which is also known as the vertex. And you've got the ABC, angle B, or CBA, which say all are talking about the same angle with vertex B. We'll get to what they look like in a minute. Angle of rotation simply is the amount of rotation in degrees of a figure about a fixed point, such as the origin. That's the 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. Remember all that, right? Bisector. What does bisect mean? Well, we know that bi means two. Sect means cut. So we're cutting it into two equal parts. If you ever hear bisector, whether it's segment bisector or angle bisector, you're cutting into two equal parts. Circle, set of all points that are equidistant in a plane. Congruent, having the same size, shape, and measure. In other words, they are exactly the same in every way. Corresponding angles and corresponding sides. They have the same relative position. So if I say angle A is corresponding to angle B, they are in the same spots on those two things. If I say side XY corresponds to side AB, they are in the same spot on whatever we're talking about. All right, end point is the point at each end of a line segment. That should be self-explanatory. Or the beginning of a ray. Image. Do we remember image, pre-image, and all that stuff? It looks like a nut. Image is the result of a transformation, or the after, what happens after you do the transformation. Intersection, the point at which two lines intersect or cross, whichever way you want to say that. Isometry is a distance-preserving map of a geometric figure to another location using a reflection, a rotation, or a transformation. All right, the way you do the symbol is you would say M maps to M prime. We remember that, right? Which one is your image and which one is the pre-image?
Pre-image is M.
M is the pre-image. That's where you start. M prime, the one with the prime, is always the image where you finish up. Line is one of the undefined terms of geometry that represents an infinite set of points with no thickness. You can't say, you know, it's a foot wide or anything like that. No thickness. And its length continues in two opposite directions indefinitely. What does indefinitely mean? Forever. It keeps going forever and ever. If I wanted to abbreviate, I'm going to say line AB or line BA for points A and B. You can use either one of them and it'll work. All right, line segment. Part of a line between 2 points on the line. And if I want to talk about line segment AB, I can say AB or I can say BA. Now, one thing you need to understand, you can have the little line segment symbol above it, or you could just have the two letters. If you don't see anything above the letters, that's automatically line segment. Automatic. What happens or does not happen on parallel lines?
They do not intersect.
They do not intersect. that will never touch. The way to say like AB is parallel to CD, you do your lines, you know, but then you have two little slanted lines that look like parallel lines. So if you ever see this right here, then that's telling you those two lines are parallel. All right, let's see if we can get this. What does perpendicular mean?
They cross to make a 90 degree.
I was about to say, most people say they cross, they intersect, they touch each other. All that's true, but they have to form right angles. 90 degree, if you want to say 90 degree angles, that's fine. They form right angles. The way to abbreviate it, you would say AB is perpendicular. That little upside down T there, that means perpendicular. We need to understand what these two symbols are talking about. Point, one of the basic undefined terms of geometry that represents a location. A dot is used to symbolize it, and it is thought of as having no length, width, or thickness. All it's doing is representing a position, a spot. Pre-image. What is the pre-image? A figure blank, a transformation has taken place before the figure has taken place. Ray is a part of a line that begins at a point and goes forever in one direction. All right, now on this one, when I say ray AB, can I flip it around and say ray BA? No, do not do that right there. What's the problem with that?
Because it only goes in one direction. It can't go both.
That, wherever your endpoint is, that one has to come first. So whichever one has the endpoint comes first. And how many directions does it go forever? One. Just the one, so that's the one that's going to have the arrow on top of it. So make sure we understand that on array. All right. Reflection creates a mirror image, or it flips it over a line. We should remember how to do that, I hope. Reflection line or line of reflection, a line that acts as the mirror so that the corresponding points are the same distance from the mirror. When we get to doing that in a couple days, it should be easy to see. Rotation obviously rotates a figure, and that's the 90 degrees clockwise or 270 counterclockwise, 180 degrees, all that stuff. Transformation is the mapping or movement of all points of a figure in a plane according to a common operation such as translation, reflection, or rotation. What does a translation do? How?
Just up, down, left, right.
Which means up, down, left, right. We're simply sliding it some direction. But yeah, that was right. When you left, right, up, down, you're sliding it for a translation. Vertex is the location in which two line segments or rays intersect. For a point, that's obvious. We're just going to have like point A, nothing major with that. A line, if I had this, how would I label that line? Abbreviated. I can do line XY or Y. Either one works, talking about the same thing. All right, plane, not a plane that flies. A plane in geometry means what?
2D.
Flat surface that goes forever in all directions. So if I took this board and I went left and right forever and up and down forever, that would be a plane. All they're going to ever do is say plane C or plane X or plane A when they're talking about it. There's no way to really draw. If you want to think of it, it's a grid. that just goes forever. So that helps you. You can draw the grid forever. Line segment. All right, so if I had CD, I could either do CD or DC. Again, it can have the little line segment symbols above it, or it could not have it above it. Either way is going to work. I had that right there for my angle. There's 3 ways of naming that angle. What's the easiest way?
ABC.
Nope.
CBA.
Nope.
BCA.
ACB. ACB. BCA.
CBA.
If it's one angle by itself, use the vertex. That's the easiest way. Now, what y'all are saying, I think, we're mostly right. BCA would be acceptable, and then ACB would be acceptable. Now, what has to happen when you're naming an angle if you do 3 letters? The vertex has to be in the middle. If you don't have the vertex in the middle, it's automatically wrong. But going back to the angle C part, if the angle is by itself, if there's only one angle that you're looking at, you can use 1 letter and you're done with it. We know what parallel lines look like. We're there. We know what perpendicular looks like now. Make sure you have the right angle in there. Now, I'm drawing 1 right angle. How many right angles are up there?
4.
All 4 of them. If I had this, what's my vertex? Point N would be my vertex. All right, Ray. If I do this, that would be Ray CB. What if I did this?
It'll be BA.
You would have to write it BA. Now, for some reason, when they have Rays written out, they always go to the right. I don't know why, but they do. So, always start with the end point and then go to the arrow. And then we know what our end points are. Point A and point B.